Hello everyone, happy evening to one and all present here. I'm Sandhya from MTT. Welcome you all on this Saturday evening to our webinar with a small quote. Technology can become the wings that will allow the educational world to fly further and faster than even before, if we allow it, said by Jenny Aldrich. Now, I would like to introduce our platform, My Trusted Tutor (MTT) is a marketplace for private tutors, school teachers, corporate trainers, academicians, educators, and all kind of educational professionals. Our mission is to make quality education easily and affordably available to all. Currently, we MTT have conducted 95 plus webinars, and now we are in the process of recruitment for the post of teachers. So, along with MTT, I would now like to introduce our speaker of the day, Prathap Sekar, on the topic Tech Tips for Teachers. So, our speaker Pratap Sekar is a visual effects and animation artist who turned a high school teacher with nearly a decade of experience in UK, India, and China. He has worked in Hollywood, Bollywood, and Chinese blockbuster movies such as Aquaman, Captain America Civil War, Star Wars Episode VII, Gravity, etc. He is in charge of digital art design and 3D print curriculum design and teaching art Beijing number 80 international schools in China. He holds master's degree in digital effects from Bournemouth University in UK, and he has a degree in visual communication from Annamalai University. Now I hand over session to Pratap sir. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sandhya, and thank you, MTT, for giving this opportunity to present to you guys today. Right. So, hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? Brilliant. Okay. So, guys, this is Prathap Sekar. I'm a digital art design and a visual effects teacher, currently working in Beijing, and I am pursuing my PGCE with the University of Sunderland, and I have a master's in digital effects from the Bournemouth University, UK, and a Bachelor of Science in visual communication from Annamalai University, and a diploma in tool and die engineering. And you can find me on LinkedIn with this link, linkedin.com/in/Pratap Sekar. Okay, so before moving into teaching, I used to work in movies. Let me quickly switch. Okay, so I used to do movies and creating visual effects for Hollywood, Bollywood, and Chinese cinema. And in this slide, what you're seeing are some of the movies I worked with. And I was also part of the team which created visual effects for the movie Gravity, which also won the Oscars for visual effects in the year 2013. Cool. All right, so today's topic, tech tips for teachers. And this year has been a really, really challenging year for everyone, especially for us teachers and schools and students. And at the beginning, all of us were struggling a bit to transform ourselves from this mainstream classroom-based teaching to complete online digital-based teaching. So we all had come a long way in that, and we have learned a ton of new things while during this stage. And so in this topic, tech tips for teachers, what I'm gonna share with you is my experiences and my learnings from this period, like this transformation period from going from a normal classroom-based teaching to this digital-based online teaching. So again, every school tried it in a different way. They used the different strategies to bring this online digital teaching. Again, so the number of tools we have at our proposal are huge. There are like loads of tools, and each one of them have their own alternatives. Like, for example, we have Google Meet or Google Classroom, and we have like Microsoft Teams, or we have Zoom, or we have other things. So like each tool which we use to support our students have a number of different alternatives. So in this session, what I'm going to give you is what I find helpful in my usual classroom cases, okay? And I will bring that to you. And if you have already used them, or if you're using any alternative of that, it's great to know what other tools are available for you to try, okay? So with that, we will jump into the topic. So today's presentation, I divided it into 4 sections. So we have preparation, presentation, storage, and assessment. So under each of these sections, we're going to have a few tools we'll be looking at. And also from this point forward, all of our slides are going to be color coded. So all the preparation slides are going to be orange in color, and presentation slides will be green, and storage is going to be blue, and assessment is going to be yellow, so that it gives you an indication of what we are talking about. And also, we're going to be looking at few gray slides. So other than these 4 colors, you will be seeing some gray slides in between, and those slides are example slides. They're not the content, but they are examples. The content is going to be in one of those colors, which you can see now in your screen, okay? Cool. All right, so let's get into preparation. This is something we all do as teachers. We prepare for our class. And usually in any school, like this will be the first thing they would ask when you're going to start a week. Say, they would ask you to submit a lesson plan on a Monday or on a Friday, stating what you're going to be doing on that week on each and individual class. Sometimes they will ask you in a minute based, like what you're going to be doing every minute of your class. And in my case, so how we do in our school is, so for example, if I'm teaching 20 periods a week, so that means I will have to have 20 documents, so 20 Word documents with details on what I'm going to be teaching on those 20 periods in that particular week. So 20 is not okay, it's an okay number, but think about a whole year's worth of lesson plans, and that's going to be over 800 lesson plans you're going to be making and also maintaining in your computer. So I don't know how you work with these lesson plans, but in my case, I used to save them in my computer, and then I would submit them to my school every Monday morning. So this had given me a little bit of a worry, because 800 is a huge number to manage. And also, sometimes you would want to go back and see what you did in a previous class, or like few classes before, and maybe you can like take some reflection from that class and bring into this class. Or in another case where you teach, say, for example, a grade 10 students, you teach a topic, and then the next semester, you're going to get a bunch of new students where you're going to be teaching the same topic which you taught earlier, 6 months ago. Then instead of creating a new lesson plan, you could go and fetch those lesson plan and use them here without having to thinking too much about what you're going to be teaching in this new lesson. So considering all these things, I was looking online for what kind of options I have to manage and keep my lesson plans safe online, so that I have access to them all the time. And also it's easy to look back and find information from that. And there are a few tools I found, and out of that, one stood out for me, and it's called Chalk. And if you have heard about it, it's great. If not, you go and try this out. It's a really wonderful tool. So what Chalk says is it helps you to ideate, connect, implement, and succeed in your lesson planning, as well as maintaining a record of your curriculum, your subject, as well as the files, meaning that, for example, if you have resources for your lessons, say you're talking about maybe a science subject and you have a PowerPoint which you would play during that session, you can add those PowerPoint into the lesson plan directly in Chalk as well. So again, if you go to the website, you will be able to see a lot more information. It's just chalk.com, and you're going to see much more information, because Chalk is not just a lesson planning tool. It's much more than that. But with my usage, what I found is that it helps you to create and maintain your lesson plan and curriculum online for free. Okay, and you can link standards to the lesson plans directly. This is something which is built into Chalk. Say, for example, if you're teaching one of those international curriculums, like, for example, AP, or Cambridge. So if you're teaching any of those international curriculums, then you can connect the standards directly to your lesson plans. And we don't have the Indian standards yet, but I think, like, based on, again, usage, if more people are using it, they would probably add that in as well. Right. And it helps you to reuse your lesson plan. Like the example I was giving earlier, say, if you want to go back and use the same lesson plan which you have used earlier, then this is a great place where it allows you to reuse your lesson plans. And also you can share your lesson plans with ease. So, so we're going to quickly go over, and I'm going to give you a quick brief. I'm not going to explain how Chalk works, but I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what it offers, so that if you are interested, you can go and find out for yourself. Okay. Right. So if you go to chalk.com, this is going to be the landing page, and this is what where you can get more information. You can watch a video, but I'm not going to be playing this video. I'm going to be going straight into Chalk. When you log in, this is what you're going to see. So over here on the top, we have like 3 buttons, and this is how you move. You move from left to right. So the first one is semester, which is basically your semester. You're going to set up when it starts and when it ends, and you do that. And then you move into subjects, and here you can tell what subjects you teach. Say, for example, in my case, I have visual effects and of 3D modeling. There's one for compositing, and there's a design technology. And in these visual effects, you can see there's 2 sections. And the section literally means that the number of classes you have, meaning, say, if you have 4 classes in 10, like grade 10, for example, 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, and that will come under section. So in my case, it's 2 sections, means like 10A1 and 10A2. That would be my sections here. Okay. And so you first set your semester, and then you go and add your subjects, and then you move to your timetable. And in timetable, you can just drag and drop these subjects you had added earlier, and then you just go and define the hours. So what time the class starts and what time it ends, and you define that, and that's going to help you set up your timetable, which is great. And from the top here, day A to day E, which is basically Monday, Tuesday. So day A is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's 5 days a week you're working. Right. So these 3 are the beginning steps you would do to set up yourself in Chalk. And then the real thing happens when you move into Planner. So if you go into Planner, here you have your timetable set up, and now this is going to be your lesson plan. And here, if you just hover over, you're going to be having this button which says add content. So you click that, and now you are in a place where you add what you're going to be teaching during that specific period. Okay. So by default, when you do this for the first time, in this planner, you're going to have an empty space. Because right now you can see all these kind of pre-filled area where you can just go and type in things or fill what you're going to do. But when you start for the first time, when you do this for the first time, it's going to be a blank page. It's very similar to when you open a blank Word document. That's how it's going to look like. But to make it easier, what you can do is you can import your school's template, because lesson plan varies. The template of the lesson plan varies from school to school. So, so you can go and import your school's template into lesson plan so that it's going to make your life much easier. So you're going to have, so this one, what you're looking at now is my school's lesson plan template. So all I have to do now is to go in and just change the weeks, and then just type in the topic, objectives, and then fill in what I'm going to do in the lesson and save. That's it. Simple as that. I don't have to form my own template every time. I just do it once, and then it applies that to all my lessons in this week or throughout this semester. Okay, so once you fill in things, you can go over to the options and you can send it or print or PDF. That will save a PDF to you, which you can send it over to your school. So I think this is super useful, saves a lot of time, and also has all your lesson plans online so that you can go back to it anytime. So instead of managing 800 files in my computer, I found this to be a lot more efficient way of doing things. And also it's free to use, which is awesome. Cool. So that's a little bit of an introduction for you on Chalk. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So, so in the preparation, Chalk was the number one thing which I wanted to share with you. And number two, this is a really awesome tool which I love very much, and it's called Trello. And you think about Trello. Trello is like a notes application or like a to-do list, but it's all online. And it is a project management tool, and you're gonna love it. I'm just gonna show it to you how I use it. It's just amazing. So what I think it does best is it helps you to visualize the progress of your project. Imagine if you're doing a project and you want to see how your students are doing at each stage of the project. This is a great tool to visualize and also to measure their progress. Okay. And it's a great tool for collaboration. You can bring in all your team. Say, for example, you have like 30, like 20 students who are working in this project. Then you bring in all 20 students into this one space online where they can all collaborate together. And I think it allows you to communicate very effectively and get inspired by the other team members. So I will explain that in a minute. I'll give you some examples. And then it's easy to give and receive feedback. And it's not just your feedback. It's not just teachers' feedback, but friends can give, the team members can give feedback to one another, which is really, again, another awesome collaborative tool. So the website is called Trello.com. So I'm gonna quickly type in this in the chat box in case if you're wondering what are those tools were. Okay, so it's chalk.com is the first one, and then the second one is Trello.com. For some reason, my first letter is getting capitalized automatically. Okay, C, small c, not capital C. Okay, brilliant. So Trello.com. Let's jump into Trello. Okay, so Trello looks something like this. So it's a board. Okay, in Trello everything is called a board, and you can create multiple boards. Again, this is a free tool. You can like free tool is good enough to use for education. You don't have to pay for it. There are paid options, but you really don't need one because you can do a lot with the free version. Okay, so in Trello, so you have these different columns. You can see like a number of columns going on. I'll explain that to you now. So over here on the very left, I have a column called task, and then I have resources, and then I have students, and then it starts from week 1, and then it keeps going to week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way to week 8. So it stops at week 8. It's because it was an 8-week project. So if you're doing a 5-week project, you can have 5 weeks. That's enough. If you're doing 20 weeks project, you can stretch all the way to 20 weeks. So mine was an 8-week project, so I kept it to 8 weeks. So how this works is on the left here, what I did is, you don't have to follow the same, the way of placing these tasks and weeks and the final work, but you can rearrange this in any way, like the way you like it. And you can also go over to Trello, or in YouTube, you can find many people use this in many different ways. This is just one way of using it, and this is the way I use it in my classroom. So you can see that over here, it's BJ80VFX G9, and that's because it was a grade 9 students animation project. So we worked on this really cool animation project over 8 weeks time. So on the tasks section, what I do is I add the task for that particular week. And this is something I will keep adding every week. So at the beginning, they would have just one card over here, and that would say, so this is the first one on the bottom left, you can see over there, it says shoot a backplate, and at the bottom right, it says week 1. So if I click that, it just opens up, and here I can give the description and the steps of what they need to do for that particular week. So in that week, they would go and watch video lessons, and then they would go and read the backplate guide to understand the requirements, and then they would go and shoot their own backplate using their smartphone, and then they will upload it over here so that we can review that. So out of the 8 weeks, it's the first week's task, and all the other links, which are attachments for this first week's task, is attached right over here at the very bottom. So when a student comes in, if he looks at this one card, he would know what he needs to do for that first week of assignment. And then over here on the resource section, this is more like a FAQ. So whenever students find a problem and when they find a solution, we try and add that to the resources section, so that when another student faces the same problem, he would go back and look at the resources to check if that problem has been already answered or identified. And if it was already there, then he can go and look for solutions right over here. If not, then we would figure out what's the best way to solve it, and then we will add that into the resources so that if anyone else is finding problems, they would come back and look for that same thing here. So this was really helpful, and it helped a lot of us because many of us were like working online, right? Because we weren't in a school to communicate with each other. So we were using this space to figure out the best way to solve problems. And over here in the student section, here what I would do is I would add all the student names at the beginning. And then what happens is when a student finishes the first week task, he would go and add his output or his result to this name. So for example, if I'm going to create a student, say, for example, student A. Okay, so I just created a student A as an example. So I'll just put it over here. And if the student finishes the first week assignment, he would go over here and then he would add, just drag and drop. It's just super easy to use. You just drag the file and drop it here, and that would add it as an attachment. And then he can describe what he has done. And once that is, once he's happy with this result, he would put this card or his name card to week 1. And this would indicate the teacher that the student had submitted the week 1's assignment. And then the teacher would go in and check for the work. And if he approves, then he would tick the week 1, meaning that week 1 is approved, and he would move the card to week 2. And this is how you see the progress. So once the week 1 is done, the student moves to week 2. And once he sees his name is in week 2, he go back to the tasks, look for week 2's assignment. Okay, week 2, I need to build my own 3D model. And then he goes and looks at what kind of things he need to do to build his model. And then he goes and look for the attachment, watches some videos, go ahead and do his work and submit that week 2's work. And then he moves to week 3. So like that, you would keep moving from week 1 to week 2 to week 3, all the way until week 8, where we finish the final project, and that's the project completed. So how do you communicate? So if the student had something wrong, then you would go and add a label. So I have these labels set up. So meaning that if it's rework, that means students had done something terribly wrong. So he had to redo the whole thing again. Or if there's a small problem, then I would say discuss. Then you can see the label right over here. Even if you close it, you will be able to see it. So it says discuss. That means the student have to contact you and talk to you and discuss about what has gone wrong and how he can fix it. So all kind of those kind of things. And also you can type in a feedback right on that card. So this student name is Henry. So I've given a feedback saying, please read the backplate guide from the week 1 and re-upload a new backplate. So like that, you can keep the conversation. And also another great feature here is that this board is shared by the whole class, meaning that all the students who are participating in this project can see everything which is going on in here. And the great thing with that is, for example, when a student submits a nice work, that inspires other students in his classroom who are looking to work on other projects. Say, for example, this project, this student has submitted a building, and this new student who is now coming in and looking at the project, what he wants to do, and he was looking for ideas. And when he sees this board, he gets ideas on inspiration from his fellow classmates. So they are submitting something, and now this student wants, oh, this looks cool, I would like to do something like this. And he would go out and do a different photo, which kind of similar, and then brings in and submits that. And the feedback is also not just by the teacher. The student gives feedback to other students, like peer, helping out each other. Oh, this photo looks good. One student can tell other students saying, oh, this looks good in this wall, within this, board, and which is really cool. It's really nice to see that kind of thing happening within this online class situation. So over here, you can see that there's an invite button, and this is how you would invite your team, your classroom, into this board. So right now, I have all these students who participated, and we completed this project a few months ago, and this is our final video, but I won't play it. It's about a few minutes long, but they have done a wonderful job. And if you're interested, maybe I'll share that in the text later. Cool. So that is Trello, guys, and this has just been an amazing platform. I really love this one. So if you are looking to try this out, go and try it. It's just brilliant. Cool. All right, so let's move on with our presentation here. Cool. So that's preparation for you guys. So we saw Chalk and Trello, and next we're going to move on to the next one. Presentation tips. So again, here, these small things that really uplifts your content presentation. We all are teachers again, so we create these presentations or in whatever form to share it with our students. And I'm just trying to give you some tips on places where you can improve it. I'm not talking about the content here, but the way you present it to the students so that it's much nicer to look at. Okay, so in that, we have a few points to look at. So the first one is image search. So this is something we all do all the time. Say you want to talk about some topic, you want to create a presentation, and you want to add some visual elements to make it look nice, isn't it? So you go and Google, find some images for that topic, and then come back and paste it into your presentation. And for this example, let's say we're going to talk about Google, and I want to place a Google's logo on my presentation. So if I go to Google, type in the Google logo, and found an image, come back and paste it, and I get this. And now this, I wouldn't say it looks great. And one of the reasons is that background. It works brilliantly on a white background presentation. But if you want to do a presentation with a different color on the background, say, for example, in here we have green, and in this one, it just doesn't work, isn't it? So So what we're going to do is we're going to see how you can find images with a transparent background so that it fits in with any kind of presentation you put in. And it's not just presentation. You can also put this transparent version of these images into your documents, even like the Word documents or any other way you're going to present the content. So if I do it, I would do it this way so that the background is transparent so that it's much nicer to look at and it just fits in overall perspective, it just fits in much nicely. So again, at the bottom, we have this JPG and PNG, and these are the two different types of images, which is commonly found on the internet. And JPEG is the one which mostly comes with the borders, whereas PNG has the transparency built into it so that when you download a PNG image, you can get this transparency on the background, so it looks much nicer. So here is another example for you guys. So if I'm teaching, if I'm a science teacher, I'm doing a presentation on the animal cell, and I go to Google or any search engine and then type in animal cell, and I'm going to get some images. I drag and drop them into my presentation, and it looks like this. Again, the border is what's just not looking great. It would be nicer if the border is in there or the background is in there. So by knowing how to download these PNG images or the transparent images, you're going to make a much better version of your presentation. Example over here, this same animal cell image or a similar animal cell image, but without the background. So I'm just going to quickly go over to the search engine, and I will show you how exactly I would go and do that. Maybe you already know how to do this thing, but again, I've seen many presentations, and I think this is something very important, and it's so simple that people should be helped with in finding these transparent images. Okay, so I'm in Google at the moment. I just looked for food cycle. So let me just go back to Google here. Right, so let's start from the beginning here. So we have Google, and I'm going to look for, say, food cycle, okay? And I get some images, so we're talking about food cycles, and I want to find a nice food cycle image. Maybe I go and click on something, and it goes into images, and you find these images here, but then you can see the background is still white. So some people go over here in the search bar and then type transparent. Like if you type that, you might or might not get a transparent image. It's not always you're going to get a transparent image. Sometimes you will, or sometimes you won't. So another option here is to get transparent images. You go and select this button, Tools. Okay, so you go to Tools, and that will give you this additional options. It's kind of like a filter, So in here, there's an option called Color. So you click on that color and choose transparent. And this way, Google's going to give you all the transparent images. This is just the transparent images. So you don't have to bother about which one you're going to click, because everything over here is transparent image. So if I click here, now you can see the background is checkerbox. That means the background is transparent. So if you go and download this, you're going to get a PNG image, and you can bring it into your presentation, and it's going to look brilliant. Okay, so again, this is a really great way of finding transparent image, and I think having those images is going to help make our presentation look a little bit more better, right? Okay, so that is finding images in the search engine. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Right, Canva. Canva is, again, a super favorite tool of mine, and I'm sure like most of you are using it already. And here I just have to emphasize on one thing. Canva is a free program, and anyone can use it, and it's super easy to use. It's just like click, drag, and it's so simple to make graphics with Canva. But if you are an educator, I highly recommend that you get Canva for Education. The link over here on the bottom, canva.com/en_in/education. So if you go over there, they might ask you proof of work. So in my case, I had to give a proof of work saying I'm working in a school, and I had a document from the school, send it over to Canva, and they approved me as a Canva for Education user. So you might have to do that for you as well, because Canva for Education is a lot more powerful. It's powerful in the sense of you get to use a lot more features for free if you are in education. And also you can bring in your students along with you. So Canva just lets you to create your own graphics and stuff, but Canva for Education creates a classroom for you where you can bring in your students and you can do stuff together. You can create arts together, which is brilliant. So, so I use Canva in many different ways, and I'm going to quickly show you how I use it, because most of you, I think, already been using this. And so I'm going to show you the way I use it in my classroom. Okay. So imagine this like, okay, so you see a bunch of images here, and there's a story. So imagine this is the first week of your school after the big like year end. And then new students are coming in for your class for the first time, and you're meeting them for the first time as well. And usually the first week is about like just getting to know each other and playing icebreaker games and stuff like that, isn't it? So for my class, what I did is I created this nice game, and it's called storytelling. And what I do is when these new students come in, I divide them or group them. I divide them into 4 groups. And then each group will get one of these set of images. And you can see here, there's a central image which forms the theme, because this is storytelling. So the central image forms the theme of the story. And then around that, you have this circle of images, which are elements. And they have to use all these elements to form this story. Okay. So there's 4 teams, and then each team will have like a couple of minutes to look at these images, and they have to come forward to in front of the class, and they have to tell their story. So that so it should be like about 3 minutes long, but you can make up your own rules here. So the idea is they have to come up forward in front of everyone and tell a story. And the rest of the class will be listening and looking for like whether they're using all these elements within their image. So again, so I created this in Canva, and again, like it's super easy to create. I'm gonna quickly show you. Yeah, let's go and quickly show you. Okay, so this again is created in Canva. I think I used a template for the background, and this background is I think it's called mind map background. But again, you can create them by yourself. It's super simple. So you go to the elements, and then you type in hexagon, and you're going to find that. So there you go. So you got that, and then you can change the color to whatever color you want, maybe a little pink here. So again, it's super simple to use. So you just like copy them around, and all these little images here, the icons here, are also from the elements here. So you can just go. So for example, in this, like this is a travel themed story. If I don't like the RIP, then I can go and add something else. Maybe let's say a hat. So if I like a hat, then I would just go and add a hat, and then just delete the rip, and then place a hat in. So you can really customize these things, and you can just another cool thing with this story game is that every group which comes in is going to have a completely different story, because not everyone's going to think in the same way, and there's no rule to go in like to follow the order of these objects. So you can let them just be creative and go with whatever order they think they want to go with the story. So so this is again like a super fun way of doing the icebreaker games and getting to know kids. So yeah, so I don't know, like would you guys want to go and try a story with this theme? If you're interested, it would be awesome. You can like unmute yourself.
Hi, sir. This is Shraddha here. So I was just, going through as and when you were talking about it. So even I was researching on it. I just want to know one thing. I have a doubt in here. Can we use this for our presentations as well, or are we only using it for games or for icebreakers or for some starters? Can we use it as a proper PPT presentation if I want to
Definitely,
teach?
you
Yeah,
can. One
yeah,
of my students did it. Actually, when I introduced Canva to my students, this was like grade 9 or grade 10 student. And then he had to do a presentation on something related to chemistry in his chemistry class. And he ended up doing the whole presentation in Canva. And that was
right.
all. Yeah, you can do presentations like
Yeah, because I was going through the presentation slides and they were quite attractive. So, since
yeah.
I teach grade 4, so I just thought if I take something like this, I think my students will definitely be glued to the screen if they see something which is so attractive and creative. So I
Right.
just wanted to get an idea about that.
Yeah, you can totally do it. Your creativity is the limit. You can do a lot of things with Canva. And
Right.
again, the again, like emphasis on try and get the Canva for education if you haven't got it yet, because one reason is you have all these extra um, elements. Like for
Right.
example, if I type a hat, you can see that when I hover the mouse over the hat, you can see underneath it says edu. And what this means is if you have a normal Canva, you won't get as many options as you would get in an edu version or the education version. So
Okay.
it's, I mean, yeah, highly recommend using the education version because, I mean, you are a teacher, so there's nothing can go wrong with using EDU version because it's just going to give you a lot more to work with.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Most welcome. Right. Another highlight of educational version over here is with the Canva design you have, you can go to download and you get a transparent background version of whatever you have created. Again, this you won't find this in the normal Canva. You need to get the educational version of Canva to get to unlock this transparent background download. So you're going to get a PNG image with transparent background, which is again like super cool. So that was one example, and I want to give you another example of how I use Canva in my classroom. So over here on the right-hand side, that image is the image of my classroom, and you can see that on the ceiling there is this little bird hanging, and so that bird is basically the rules, the house rules of that room. So I'm sure like every teacher, when they goes in and they kind of establish how students should behave in their own classroom, isn't it? So if you're a teacher, you would tell them, okay, when you want to ask something, you need to raise your hands, or if you I don't know, if you want to go out for a a quick break, then you have to mention the teacher or things like that. You should not open other books or you should not talk to other students. These are the little like rules we set in our class, like when we start our class, isn't it? So what I did with my class is that I created a game out of the rules because I don't want my rules to be like printed out on a paper and stuck on a wall so that student would never go and read it. But instead, I want it to be a game so that in the first class, like we would play this game all together, and they have to figure out what our rules are. So the way it looks like is that here on the left-hand side, you can see this bunch of icons put together. And these, like the three icons is one group, and these three form the rule of the class. So we have like 11 rules at the moment, and you can see the same on the board over here in my picture. So again, this is done in Canva as well. So it's super useful, guys. So go ahead and start using it. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity. I don't know if you guys want to play along with. So I just want to quickly share with you some images so that you can type in what you think the rule is. So I only have like 3 to share. So this one is super simple. You can, I don't know, speak only in English. So that's the rule in the class. So participants, you could type in if you want to play along with this game. So I'm going to show the next one, and you can type in on the chat what kind of what rule this is. So yeah, go ahead, guys. Type in what do you think this rule is. So there is, yeah, no mobiles or tablets in class. Yeah, so no mobiles, and it's supposed to be a laptop or tablet. Because in my classroom, I allow them to bring their own devices. And I let them keep them with them. I mean, keep those devices with them, but there is a strict rule that they should not be using it during the class. So later on, I'll tell you why I allow them, because we also do other things with their own devices. Yeah, cool. Nice one, guys. And how about this one? Here is another image for you where you can, no idea. Okay, no idea. No worries. Did anyone else want to try?
Something like, press the button, or, when it's time to leave the class. I don't know. I'm just guessing it randomly
Yeah,
because
I mean, you're
it's
getting
a start
almost,
button, or, something which you press. So I don't know.
yeah.
Random guess.
Right. Because our class is very much like a technology class. So we mostly work on a computer. So you have to shut down your
Shut down. Yeah, shut down. Right.
arrange your tables and then exit. So that's the rule. So before they have to go, they have to shut down, put the tables in order, and then leave. So like that, we play this game. So we have this 11 pictures, and they would play this. And there's no group. It's just all individual. And we will like, it's so interesting to see who comes up with the idea first. And it's super fun to do that in the classroom. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So this is, again, like we talked about, like finding the images with the transparency, and also with the Canva, you can export your files with transparency using the educational one. Now we move into pictures. If you want to put images which you shot on a camera on your phone, and then you want to put this in a presentation, but you still want to, so you want to cut out the subject out, and you want to remove the background, then there are a couple of websites you can use. And one of them is remove.bg, which is really cool website. I really like that. And their version is, I think they use AI to remove the background, but they remove.bg is something which is very reliable, and their outputs are like of high quality. And another alternative here is pixlr.com. And this probably you might have used it, because Pixlr is very, you can do many things in Pixlr. You can edit photos, you can add like effects and stuff. And recently they added remove BG option inside Pixlr as well. Again, these are all free. It all happens within the browser. You don't have to download any additional program to run on your computer. It's just, you just need a browser to log into their website, and you can do this. So remove.bg claims that they remove the backgrounds 100% automatically in 5 seconds with 0 clicks. Again, and I've used remove.bg quite a bit, and it's been wonderful. But recently they changed their website a little bit, and they have changed like the number of free times you can use their program is limited now. So you might have to check that. But Pixlr, I think, is completely free. So I'm going to quickly go over to the website so that you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay. So again, right. So this is right. So this is the website, remove BG, and it's remove.bg is the website. So I'm just going to type in over here, remove.bg. Okay, sorry, the first letter is always getting like capitalized. But yeah, so if you go to remove.bg, you just drag and drop your image over here, and then they would automatically remove the background and give you a PNG file again. So here you can see what kind of pictures they do. So they do people, they do product, it works on animals, it works on transports, and it works on graphics as well, which is brilliant. So here is an example which I also showed it to you on my presentation. So a photo like this, just drag it along, and then you're going to get a complete transparency with a very good quality output. And this has been wonderful. So go ahead and try this out. It's been amazing. And an alternative is here, Pixlr. So you can go to pixlr.com, pixlr.com. And if you go over there, the third tab here is Remove BG. So you go to that one, and we are at the moment in Remove BG. Again, you can just drag and drop your files in, and then it would give you an option to remove and even like fix slightly. If the edges are incorrect, you can also fix them, and then download a transparent version without the background. So yeah, so again, these two I think probably will be useful for you. I don't know. So I just wanted to give it to you so that you know that there are tools out there and it's free to use. Okay, right, let's jump back. So that's Remove BG and Pixlr for you. And the next one is called draw.io. Again, this is another tool I really love, and it's super easy to create, say, a mind map or a flow chart for your classroom. Again, like they say, it's easy to create and share professional flowchart diagrams, and it's an interface and design tool. And it's all in website. Again, there's no need of downloading any programs. All you have to do is type in the browser draw.io, and that would take you to the website. So draw.io. So let me quickly show. Oh, yeah, before that, I just want to give you some examples of how I use it in my classroom. So, so this is what do you call a mind map, a design mind map. So I created this in draw.io, and here you can like give this to the student, and they would say, for example, if the challenge is to design a tie, then what they would do is they would look into these. Okay, who is this tie for? What kind of tie is this? Where this tie will be used at? And you know, when will be this used? Or like, why is this tie important? So you can like, you know, you kind of like create this kind of mind map template and give it to your students. And also students can come up with their own version of templates or own version of mind map. And it's super easy to use, just like Canva. I think it's even like easier than Canva to use. And it's again, free tool online. So yeah, there's another example over here. This is a recent one which we did, and students were creating composition. So it's like they take a picture and then they download a number of pictures and they put all of them together and they composite it, and they have to tell a story from that. So so this is the mind map for that. So they would think of this concept in their mind, and then they would try to explain that in words so that everyone can understand it. So the main idea is to take the information from their mind and put them into plain words so that whoever reads it gets to understand what they're thinking. So, so yeah, this was the mind map which we did for that project. And also they would like mention all the elements needed for that particular project so that when they move into the project, they exactly know what kind of things they're looking to do with it. Okay, so here is another example. So this is great for creating. This is really quickly you can do this thing in draw.io. So if you are one who plans how the seating arrangements are for your class, because you might have like I don't know, 10 different classes, and each one of them will have different strength of students, and you want to design the space for you, like how the class should be arranged. So the seating plan for your class. So then you can go over to draw.io and you can just, you know, quickly and easily create the seating plans. So this is my seating plan for my classroom. Again, so let me quickly jump over to draw.io so that I can show you how that looks like. So this is draw.io. On the left-hand side, you're gonna get a bunch of different shapes which you can use. And on the right-hand side, it's very much a properties of those shapes and texts. And so you can just click them and that would create the shape. And it's nice that you have a grid on the background. And if I'm creating a mind map, then I would just go, you have these arrows on the side. As you hover your mouse over, it's going to create those, show those arrows. You click that, and it's going to tell you what other shape you want to create. So maybe I want to create this one. So then it comes up there. And now you can just move around this object, and it automatically connects them to that shape. So you can type in whatever you want here. So maybe a concept of something, and then I don't know, maybe you can type in it's a story. Like, so you can just go over here and then just click on these shapes, and that creates that shape. And then you can go over and drag them, connect them this way. And you have controls of how it should look like you can change the colors. And you can just you can make it into different style. Like the sketch style looks like, you know, something hand drawn, which looks really nice. Also, you can change the way the arrows connect. So you can go over here and say you want the arrow to be straight. You don't want it to be curved. Then you can go and say that it has to be like this. I mean, just like a very simple demonstration, but you can create like very massive projects out of this. And the best thing is, as it's happening online and on a web browser, you can just give it over to your students, and like to you let them design like what they're thinking, so that they know how to put their thoughts into like a sketch, or they can create a flow chart of something. So yeah, again, super useful. I found it to be super useful, and I use it in my class all the time. So yeah, so that's draw.io. And also you can go over to the file and export that into, so don't worry about that. It's just, it's not a problem here, but you can go to file and then you export it as a PNG image. And also there's no boundary to it. So you can go as big as possible in terms of the size of the paper. So yeah, again, this a great tool. Right, moving on. Guys, I think we are kind of getting close to the 1 hour time limit. Let's go. Right, so I think we finished our presentation tips. So now we are into storage, or like the online storage tips. So as we are like more and more moving into online storage and online classes and things, we want our resources to be online, because the main problem was, you had all your resources on your books and papers and things like that. And then all of a sudden moving into online, you need to have all those resources online so that you can share with your students. And so I was looking for like, what are the best possible ways I can use this online storage, and which one gives me the maximum amount of storage for free. And most of the things I mentioned here are going to be the free ones. So here is the list of things, list of online service providers for you. And the first row over here are the most popular ones. You probably are using it. The Google Drive gives you 15 gigabytes, Box 10 gigabytes. OneDrive gives you 5, and Dropbox starts with 2. And then the second row, you probably may not have heard of it, or maybe, I don't know. But these are also free online storage spaces, and it works perfectly fine. And there's even more, actually. There's loads of these, but I only mentioned some of them here. But if you look hard, you're going to find a lot more. And imagine if you have a count on all of these, then you're going to have automatically close to more than 50 gigabytes of free online storage, which is just brilliant. And so Yandex is one of the really good online storage spaces. I use that often. So on top of that, if you are an Apple product user, then you will also have iCloud, which is another 5 gigabytes. So all these are free, and yeah, if you need, make use of them, and there's nothing wrong, and you can just keep storing. Like maybe you can, if you need like more storage, you can just split the services. Say, for example, for one subject, you're going to use Box, and another subject, you're going to use OneDrive. So it's kind of like easy for you to organize things as well. Okay, so that's the storage tips. And let's move on to assessment. Right. So, so here we're going to see two things. One is the formative assessment, and another one is saving time when giving comments. And let's go into the first one without spending time, okay? So for formative assessment, Socrative, this is a great tool. And this is very, very similar to many other tools you already know, like Quizlet, Quizzes, Kahoot. So it's kind of similar to that. And it lets you conduct a quiz, conduct a space race. Space race is nothing but a fancy gamified version of a quiz. And then you can do instant exit tickets. And exit tickets are helpful when you want to get feedback from your student about your class. So what I think Socrative, or like out of all these things, why I choose Socrative is because one, it's very clean and easy to use interface. It's like the moment you look in, like you log into it, you would know how clean the interface is, and I really appreciate that. Instead of throwing me like loads of buttons everywhere and like making it very congested, Socrative like maintains it super clean and easy to use. And so the quick question creation is also really cool, because if you want to take a really quick quiz without the preparation, so you were thinking of a quick quiz as you're doing the lessons, and you don't have much time to prepare the quiz, and you just thinking of like few points which you want to take, then you can instantly go and create a quiz within like a couple minutes and then send it over to the students to answer. And live monitoring is another thing which I really like. And what it does is when you start a quiz, when students join in, and you will have this dashboard of like the students and how they are answering. So you will see that live. So what I do is when I start, I used to use Socrative even before the COVID times. Sorry, someone was saying something, guys?
Nothing, so I think again.
All right, accidental one. Cool. All right. So, so Socrative, I've been using Socrative for a while, even before the COVID. And what I do is I prepare the quiz, give it to the students, and then while they're doing their quiz, I will project the monitor, the live monitor on the TV, so that they can see how the class is doing. So there you will see the progress bar, and then you'll see, oh, someone is like finishing the quiz first, and then the other student will go, oh no, I need to go and finish it first. So there's this like nice competitiveness within the classroom when they try to do this quiz, and it's really nice to see that. So, and also instant feedback, which is something I really, really appreciate. And because usually back in before I was using Socrative, the quizzes are like you hand them to the students in a piece of paper, and then the students fill or like answer those quizzes in a paper, and then they hand it back to you, and then you take time to correct them, and then it will be next class already. So then you'll only be able to talk to the students about how they performed in the very next class. So that Socrative cuts all that, and it's instant feedback. So once the student finished the quiz, they know how they did already, and then you can see how everyone has done, and you can see like what are the common problems. Like if some question wasn't answered correct by everyone, that means there is a miscommunication there. So you can talk about that and explain it to them right there when they just have finished the quiz, which is, I think, super helpful. So again, if you jump into Socrative, if you're a teacher, you have to create an account. For a student, they don't have to. They just need to just click the student login. They don't need an account. But this is going to be the website. This is how it looks like. And you sign up for a free account. And once you log in, this is the interface, which I'm really happy with. So you have the quiz, space race, exit ticket. These are the three things Socrative does, and it does really well. And these are the quick quiz. If you wanted to take, you can just click that and create a new quiz without thinking too much. And so you have this launch, quiz, rooms, and report sections. And launch is when you are ready to launch a quiz. Quiz is where you prepare your quizzes. And you can see that these are the quizzes I've prepared and conducted them. And rooms are the name of the room where students would join in. And then reports are, again, like so So once the student finishes their quiz, all their answers are saved under this report, so you can export them as an Excel file, and or you can just simply look at how they did, like how they performed. So here you can see my last test, which just happened this Wednesday, and these are the scores. I've hidden the name, and over here you can see how they did on each question. And here, as I was talking to you before, this 12th question, everyone failed to answer it correct. So there was a problem there. So I had to explain it to them right then and there, and then they understand it better. So yeah, these are, again, like, I think it's a great tool. Yeah, so I just want to quickly show you another thing over here. So when you go and launch the quiz, say, for example, I'm launching this one, and it's going to ask you what type of quiz you want to do. So one is instant feedback. So if you click that, it will ask for the student name. And then right after they finish the question, it would give them the feedback. Or open navigation lets students go back and forth between the questions. So if the student is doing like the first question now, and then he's like doing the 10th question, and then he can come back and rethink about the first question. So this gives us them the opportunity to go back and forth and revisit the questions. Teacher-paced is you control, basically the teacher controls the test. So you say when the student will move forward to the next question. And one thing I really like with these is these two options, which are shuffle questions and shuffle answers. So in this way, students have no option to copy from others because the answers are all shuffled. Say, for example, for a question, if A, B, C, D are the answers, like multiple choices, the A won't be the same A for the next student. It would be shuffled. And also the questions will also be shuffled. The first question for one student will be a 10th question for the other student. So again, all these shuffling really helps to, stop from students copying from each other. Okay, all right, guys. So let's jump back into, so that's Socrative. And the final, we are almost at the end. I won't take too much time of yours. We're almost there. This is the last one. It's called clipboard history. And I think this is one of the most underused feature in Windows. It's this default, it's built into your Windows computer. And if you're a Windows 10 user, and if you're using Windows 10, which was released after 2018, then your computer should have this clipboard history feature built into it. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to view and paste things that you have copied back in time. Say, for example, for the past 10 minutes, you are doing some work and you're copying multiple resources which you wanted. And then you go back to the document where you want to type in. And then instead of pressing Control V, which is the paste, right? Control C for copy, Control V for paste. And instead of pressing Control V, you're going to press Windows V, right? So when you press Windows V, it's going to pop up this window, which is clipboard history. If you haven't enabled that setting, if you press Windows V, it will ask you to enable it. And once you do that, then you have access to whatever things you're copying. Like it will keep a history of the last 25 items that you're copying in Windows. So as the example goes, like when you're working for the past 10 minutes trying to copy multiple items, and then you go back to your document and you want to go through all of them and paste it, that means you don't have to switch between the document. You can simply press Windows and V together, and that's going to bring up this window of all the things you copied earlier, and you can just simply click and paste it. And so why is this useful and where it can be used in the teaching context? Here is some hypothetical situation, okay? So you are asked to give comments on all your students on their midterm exam performance. And you have a lot of time with you and you can write each student a personal comment. That's going to be great. But when you're on a time crunch and you probably don't have enough time, then you will look for a comment bank. This again, like most teachers do this, they will have this comment bank and you will look for the most appropriate comment which you can use for the student, and you can modify them. So in that scenario, what you can do is you can go to the comment bank first, look for what are all the comments that would match to your students and things that you can easily adjust and modify. So you go and copy those comments first, and then go back to the document where you need to type the comments, where you would go and simply press Windows V to show all the comments you had copied already, and then you just choose the one which you want, and it's going to save you a ton of time. And imagine, like, if you're teaching like 100 students and you want to write feedback for 100 students in like 2 days time, that's going to be a lot of work, and having this feature is going to help you a lot. If you're a Mac user, there's a tool called Alfred, which is a brilliant tool, and I don't think it's free though. Especially with this feature, the clipboard history feature is not free, but I think you should try that out, and it's just an amazing tool. Again, this is for Mac, people who are using Mac computers. Okay, so we are at the end of our presentation again. So we saw 4 different categories or 4 different sections. So we saw tools in each of them, and I hope it helped you in some way. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. If you have anything, or if you any query, any doubt, feel free to contact me, or feel free to put that in the text, or you can also find me online on LinkedIn over here, linkedin.com/in/Prathap Sekar. And thank you very much for attending, and I'm open for questions. Yes, thank you.